If you're a pregnant business owner and constantly feel like there's never enough time in your day, you're not alone. Between growing a baby, running a business, and simply trying to keep up with life, it can feel impossible to carve out the time you need to actually prepare for maternity leave. But here's the truth. You don't need more hours. You just need a better way to use the ones you already have. Hi, I'm Christina Hall, six-figure business owner and mom of two. I've taken two very different maternity leaves as an entrepreneur. The first time, I worked round the clock trying to prepare my business, but in the end, it still relied heavily on me. And the second time, I built systems and a team, and my business actually grew while I was gone. And I'm on a mission to help you do the same. In today's episode, I'm breaking down 4 simple shifts that helped me find at least 5 extra hours a week during pregnancy, and how you can use those hours to actually get ready for a profitable, stress-free maternity leave. So if you're feeling maxed out, stuck in maintenance mode, or wondering how you'll ever find time to plan your leave, this episode is for you. And if you're ready for personalized support to prepare your business for a smooth and profitable maternity leave, I invite you to book a free strategy call with me. Just click the link in the show notes and choose a time that works for you. All right, let's dive in. In my first 10 years of business, I used to view days where I crossed every task off my to-do list a productive day. However, my to-do list was often filled with mindless administrative tasks like clearing the email inbox, updating spreadsheets, invoicing clients, following up for late payments, etc. I was working crazy hours and my calendar was booked with clients, but anytime I tried hiring another teacher, I couldn't figure out how to fill up their schedule and they would leave. I had created a job for myself, but I couldn't figure out how to build a business, and it was because I was focusing on all the wrong things. It wasn't until I was pregnant and I realized that if I wanted to be a mom who is present for her kids, home for family dinners, able to put them on and get them off the bus, I needed to figure out how to build a business. When I looked at my to-do list, I was doing virtually 0 tasks to actually build a business. Most of the things I was doing had to be done, but they didn't have to be done by me. Once I realized that I needed to shift my focus from maintaining to building, that's when everything changed. Most entrepreneurs hustle like crazy when they open their business, and in most cases you have to. But at some point, you have to begin handing off those tasks and start building. There are so many tasks that often stay on our to-do list that can be easily deleted, automated, or delegated. And pregnancy is the perfect time to become ruthless with your to-do list. Literally, everything that you do, you should ask first if it's necessary. And if the answer is yes, then is there a tool to automate it, or is there a person or service you can delegate the task to? For example, I was sending manual appointment reminders to clients. That is something that could have been automated easily and affordably. When I was ready to make that change, I subscribed to Acuity, put all client appointments on the calendar, and set up automatic text and email reminders. Done. I used to clean the studio myself. Then I hired a cleaning service for $160 a month to take care of it. I know that sometimes it doesn't seem worth it to spend the money, but think about how much time you spend doing some of these tasks and what you could do with that time if you automate or delegate it. This is the season of your life where it's imperative that you start valuing your time and focus on the tasks that are most important. Now, of course, I recommend hiring help, but I know that can take time and I want you to get immediate relief. So start with things that you can immediately delete, delegate, or automate without hiring a team. Another thing to be aware of is falling into the trap of constantly creating new offers. New offers are great. And I know it comes from a place of wanting to help more people. But if you are still doing almost everything in your business, you are going to be far more profitable if you focus on scaling just one offer before expanding to additional offers. Now, one area that you should protect, but I have a history of deleting. When I'm in stressful seasons, I will sleep less, choose less healthy food, skip exercise, and spend less time with family and friends. But these are the things that fuel our work. Pregnancy is so difficult. I love my children and I wouldn't trade them for anything, but I hated being pregnant. Intense fatigue throughout, the difficulty sleeping, the nausea, the insatiable hunger in the first trimester, and then the physical discomforts like the back pain. It's a lot. And despite all of that, I stopped so many of my healthy habits and tried to push through, working the same crazy hours I had before pregnancy. Oh, and when it's the second or third pregnancy, this all becomes 10 times more difficult because then you have another child or 2 or 3 to take care of. But this is not the time to stop your healthy habits. Continuing some form of exercise, even if it's just walking or prenatal yoga, can do wonders for your physical comfort and mental health. Making healthy food choices can also help you feel so much better. And getting whatever sleep you can should be a priority. If your body is telling you that you need a nap, ask yourself, what can I delete, automate, or delegate to make that happen? When we are rested and nourished, we lead better, we make clearer decisions, and we show up as the CEOs we actually want to be. This is the season of your life where it's imperative that you start valuing your time and your energy. And that starts by protecting those healthy habits. Now, you may have heard all of this advice before, and yet you still may feel like there's not enough time in your day. That's exactly how I felt. I was doing all the things people said to do, and yet I still felt like I couldn't find time to do the things that mattered. And what helped me break out of that rut and that cycle was doing a time audit. I've done time audits a number of times in my life, and every single time they've given me so much clarity. One of the biggest benefits, and something people don't talk about enough, is how just the process of doing a time audit makes you more intentional with your time. When you know you have to write down what you're doing, you start avoiding the time wasters and energy drainers. Literally every time I do a time audit, I get more done without making any conscious changes. And there's something so powerful about seeing your week laid out, whether it's on paper or in a spreadsheet. You start to notice patterns. You see where you're spending more time than you thought. And you realize which tasks could be grouped together so you're not constantly context switching. You start to understand where your time is actually going, and that clarity allows you to make changes. If you haven't done one yet, it's super simple. You can do it in a notebook, a spreadsheet, or just a note on your phone. So for about a week, write down everything you do each day with a timestamp. At the end of the week, review what you wrote down. It could be a little bit annoying, but it is so worth it. So when I do these time audits, one of the things I often notice is that I get sucked into consuming more than creating. Oftentimes, I would be listening to podcasts or watching YouTube videos about business, so I'd think I was being productive, when in reality, it was a distraction. I also find that when I consume more than I can implement, it becomes a waste of time. I can't tell you how many times I've gotten excited about something that I watched in a video or heard in a podcast, and then I would start to implement it and then get distracted and never finished it. Learning new things is wonderful, and I am not saying to stop listening to podcasts or reading business books or watching YouTube videos, but you have to be so intentional about what you consume and for how long. There is no shortage of information out there, but because of that, all the information can be overwhelming. So choose to follow the people you really connect with. Make sure you're spending more time creating and implementing than consuming. And try to get in the habit of searching for information to fix a specific problem in your business so the content is relevant and applicable to your current situation. So the next time you find yourself deep in a scroll or listening to another podcast, like now, ask yourself, am I consuming this with intention or avoiding the thing I really want to create? All right, let's quickly recap the 4 shifts that can help you find 5 extra hours a week, even while pregnant. 1, ruthlessly edit your to-do list. Focus on building, not just maintaining. Delete, delegate, or automate anything that doesn't need to be done. 2, prioritize health and rest. Stop sacrificing the habits that actually give you the energy to lead well. Protect your sleep as best you can. I know that is difficult when you're pregnant and when you have little ones, but just do the best you can. Fuel your body as best you can and move when you can. 3, do a time audit of your week. Write down everything you do for 1 week and you'll uncover patterns, find wasted time, and get instant clarity on where your hours are really going. And 4, be honest about how much you're consuming versus creating. Are you consuming content as a distraction, or are you creating something that will move your business forward? So your action step for this week, start with a simple time audit. Nothing fancy, just grab a notebook or open a note on your phone and track what you're doing each day. At the end of the week, look for one task you can delete, one task you can automate, and one task you could delegate. That alone can free up hours. And if you want help figuring out what to delegate or how to free up more time in your schedule, click the link in the show notes and book a free strategy call with me. I'll help you identify where your time is going and how to start setting up your business to run without you, so you can take the maternity leave you deserve. And be sure to tune in next week because I'm sitting down with Kyrie Vare, a business growth strategist who helps 7- and 8-figure CEOs build high-performance teams. We had an amazing conversation that you won't want to miss. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll catch you in the next episode.